significant part of future growth when it comes to digital is happening through content which is in regional languages. There is a lot of focus on Hindi as a language for content being created on Quora for India market. That's a foundation which a lot of brands miss.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Animaker Genius Talk, a talk show where we interview genius minds from the world of videos and transfer some of their amazing knowledge to you. Today we have a very special guest in the house. I'm pleased to present to you successful entrepreneur and the CEO of Digital Vidya, Pradeep Chopra. Welcome to the show, Pradeep. I'm happy to have you here today.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be part of your talk show.
All right, let's get started. Today, we're going to have 3 different sections. And through these sections, we're going to find out the answer to how an international global brand can reach into a developing country and a beautiful market like India, leveraging the powers of digital marketing. The first section is what we call the genius journey. Now, every great story always has a beginning. Your journey with Digital Vidya has been amazing. Today, Digital Vidya is one of the leading digital marketing trainers in India as well as the Asia Pacific region, right? But
Yes.
Where did it all begin? What is the story behind this amazing company? Share with us your journey of the genius behind Digital Vidya.
Thank you for asking that question, because that gives me an opportunity to share about our journey. So, we have been using digital marketing for us since the year 2000, when we started our first venture. And in that venture, 18 years back, digital marketing happened to us accidentally when we were struggling to use conventional mediums, because that's all what we knew. So just to share with you, in our first venture, January 2001, we accidentally used SEO to get our first sale from US. And that was a point when we discovered something like digital marketing. And since then, we have been actively using digital marketing until 2009 for our various ventures we were doing. And in 2009, a friend of ours suggested that if we could do something formally about sharing our experience and expertise with other professionals, entrepreneurs, they would get significant value. While we were already doing that informally, but 2009, that suggestion turned that informal contribution to formal contribution in the form of Digital Vidya. But it was not started with the idea of, setting up a business. It was more out of passion to deepen our contribution in the digital ecosystem. We started Digital Vidya and we did our very first social media marketing workshop in January 2010 in India. And it's been 9 years, but that's how our journey began.
All right, you started a digital marketing training in India 9 years ago. That is definitely a forward thought. All right, my next question to you is, one of the main reasons why international institutions, big universities are a little apprehensive to jump onto this digital marketing training bandwagon is because I think the industry as a whole is changing rapidly. Every day there's a new innovation. Facebook launches a new feature. Everything we know about the platform is going to change rapidly. So like this, every day the industry keeps rapidly innovating and coming up with new things every day. So in this kind of a scenario, how do you manage to keep yourself and your courses updated?
Great. So that's very true about the nature of this industry, that it changes almost on daily basis. And it's not the challenge for international brand, it's challenge for everyone. And I would say if this challenge is addressed well, it's a great opportunity. So to ensure that whatever we are imparting as learning is relevant, up to date, one principle we have followed from the very beginning is to ensure that people who are imparting learnings, which is our program leaders or our trainers, they are the ones who are practitioners. We don't have any trainer as an internal employee, because we know that unless the person who is teaching digital marketing is not practicing, very soon he or she would be outdated. And we don't just have, trainers teaching multiple topics. We have almost 35 to 40 trainers across various subjects in digital marketing. For example, there are 6 trainers teaching about search engine optimization alone. And they are the ones who have been practicing SEO or search engine optimization since anywhere between 5 to 12, even up to 15 years. And more important, they are currently practicing that discipline which they are delivering in our training programs. And they are the ones who are responsible for not just taking those live sessions, but they are also the ones who are responsible for updating our curriculum, updating our assignments. So everything end to end of our training program is handled by practitioners, multiple practitioners, and that's actually one of the big reasons why we have our programs delivered online. And that's how we take care of that. And definitely at Digital Vidya, we practice what we preach. So we ourselves use digital marketing on day-to-day basis. And at Digital Vidya's core product team is also up to date with what's happening latest in the industry.
So practice what you preach. That's definitely an amazing lesson that all international education institutions can take away from this. All right, my next question to you is, you work with a lot of big corporate companies and hand out very specialized niche training to their marketing teams, right? Anywhere from CMOs to marketing professionals, all of them get trained in the digital arena from you. So in this kind of a scenario, I want to understand from you, how do you think the L&D departments in big corporate companies are open to adopting, latest technologies such as digital marketing, both in terms of equipping their employees as well as practicing it themselves? Like, for example, utilizing videos to have convey messages instead of, let's say, a traditional email. So, how open do you think the L&D departments are in big companies?
Okay, so your question is about 2 elements. One is digital marketing and other is embracing digital technologies. So I think when we started 9 years back, why digital marketing, why social media, those were the questions we were addressing in our training programs. Thankfully, over these years, that has changed from why to what, and more important now, how. So I think almost every organization is today clear that their target audience, which includes their customers, which includes their potential employees, existing employees, investor, other stakeholders, they are on this medium. That number is only growing, and the amount of time spent by this audience is growing. They know that they don't have a choice but to leverage this medium. So we don't, it's rarely that we now have to tell them that digital marketing is important. We may still have to tell them about some newer channels which they might not be present to, for example, say Quora, or advanced areas like marketing automation. But is social media important? That's very clear to them. So we need to talk about how to leverage social media in a way which is effective for them. And so digital marketing for leadership team, for marketing folks is very obvious. And it goes beyond marketing teams as well. Like, we've been training a lot of people in customer service. We've been training people in their sales department. We've been doing one-to-one with CXOs as well. And because digital marketing is embraced, sidewise, I would say that digital as a medium is also used for a lot of interesting ways. Like, many of these corporates would have done digital marketing training with us in an online format. Like, they have distributed teams. When we propose them that, let's do this training online, your team doesn't have to travel, and we can have a training delivered over a few weeks. And they found it very interesting. They found it relevant. And once they found the effectiveness of it, they started using it internally for their other training programs with their internal teams as well. So embracement of digital as a medium beyond marketing is also spreading fast, and we are happy to make a contribution in that.
All right. So that's definitely a very interesting trend. And turnover from why to how is definitely an indicator of how the industry as a whole is maturing in terms of understanding and embracing by the people. All right. So we've come to the end of section 1. The next section is what we call picking the genius brain. I'm going to throw some questions at you. I'm going to find maximum value from your answers, and I'm going to pass on that value to my audience for free. All right. The first question is, now the Indian market as a whole has a kind of a reputation to be a little bit on the price sensitive side. All right. So this can be a major challenge for global companies who are trying to address this issue. One, they're not exposed to this kind of a different sensitivity in terms of the market. And two, understanding the concept as a whole proves a little difficult for a lot of international brands. So you're coming from India. What are the tips that you can give us as an international brand to tackle this problem?
Okay, sure. So I think one, India is big market, and most of the international brands are realizing the opportunity. And the immediate question which comes to their mind is what approach they should take. And over last few years, if we look at, there have been failures by large brands who just try to replicate what they've been doing in their respective countries, versus there are successes like Amazon. So I think if we look at our experience, and that's true for any geography where there are differences, including culture, language. So what is very important for these brands is to understand first the difference, because unless they know the difference, they would be probably solving a problem which does not exist. So they need to understand the difference, understand the persona of the audience, and accordingly customize and personalize their communication. So that's one critical aspect. When it comes to reaching out to this audience, given the penetration of digital with over 500 million users online, they don't have a choice but to use digital. That's a great opportunity now, and that's the reason why more and more international brands are looking at India. Then coming to the point about price sensitiveness, yes, that's correct. The loyalty factor relatively is low. So what brands need to look at is what are other factors beyond price which matters to this audience. Like look at Amazon. They've been able to take care of a lot of emotional value for their customers through their policies like refunds. So they need to look at one, they need to have price sensitiveness ingrained in their offering, but that alone is not going to be sufficient. To build long-term loyalty, they need to think what else matters. And to audience like in India, there are a lot of subtle factors like emotional elements, which if they include in their offering, they are going to see long-term value.
All right, that's definitely a very interesting perspective. Now, an interesting follow-up question. Now that you mentioned language and culture, I understand that India is a land of languages. There are more than 20 major languages spoken across the country. So this again can prove as a sort of a challenge for international brands. So when someone steps into the Indian market, do you really think they should diversify into various languages? And if so, what is the base number of languages that they need to diversify into to actually get a strong foothold in the Indian market?
Great question. So for sure, India as a market, as we look at various reports and surveys, a significant part of future growth when it comes to digital is happening through content which is in regional languages. If we look at languages, popular languages in India, Hindi, Telugu and Tamil are the top three. Hindi is already world's fifth most largest spoken language. Now, while there are many languages, English is still one of the largest. What is important is, I wouldn't say it's a formula. What brands need to look at is who's their audience. If their audience is like, say, audience in rural areas, in audience which does not understand English, or if they are targeting audience, say, educated but non-Hindi audience in, say, South, then they don't have a choice but to adapt to it. Look at, and that's happening already. Like Quora, if you look at, while they started with English, there is a lot of focus on Hindi as a language for content being created on Quora for India market. Look at e-commerce, Amazon has already gotten into, Hindi site, Hindi version of their site. One interesting example that I want to share about is there is a site called NewsDog. It's an app about news and content around India. It's run by a Chinese founder, and as far as I know, she sits in China, and she's not from India, and see, they have over 50 million user base. They've raised over $50 million, and they've been able to make a big mark in India market because they knew that for them to be able to reach to larger masses, to have even higher engagement, they needed to create content in these languages, and these three key languages, they are leveraging it and are doing very well. So that's a great example of an international brand or an international team sitting outside India being able to make a big impact because they understood their audience well and customize and personalize accordingly.
All right, that's something really interesting. While the rest of the world is still struggling to get a foothold in China, it's amazing to see that Chinese entrepreneurs are able to expand into the rest of the world. That's amazing. So my next question to you is about influencer marketing. Now, influencers are becoming a very powerful force of marketing across the globe. All right. And even in India, some of the most powerful YouTube channels across the globe, which includes T-Series, they seem to be the second biggest YouTube channel in the world. Right. So there are some strong channels coming out of India as well. But as compared to the West, in terms of the maturity of the entire influencer network, that seems to be in the nascent stage in India right now. So what is your suggestion for brands to leverage this nascent stage of the influencer network to build a strong influence in India?
Sure. So influencer marketing is a great opportunity. And at the same time, I see this is more being misused, abused, or not rightly used than what the opportunity is. And one of the fundamental reasons is brands look at, metrics like how much reach that person has versus how much, real influence that celebrity or a channel has. And more important, how much relevance that particular influencer, organization, or an individual has to the audience they want to reach out. So the fundamental questions about marketing in terms of who your audience is, who are they likely to be influenced by, if those are answered well, and those are used as a framework to choose relevant influencers, I think that's a foundation which a lot of brands miss when they look at influencer marketing. They're just focused on numbers. They don't look at the relevance. And then even if they get numbers, that doesn't move the needle, then they question influencer marketing is not working. So my message is get that foundation be right. And then there are enough opportunities. Like, there are channels which are, as you mentioned, T-Series is world's second largest YouTube channel. India would have a massive reach through followership of individuals and brands, and that could be leveraged well.
All right. So get your foundation right is definitely a very important point. All right, Pradeep, we've come to the end of section 2. The next section is what we call Inside the Genius Mind. This is going to be a rapid fire section. I'm going to throw some questions at you and I want you to answer these questions as short as possible. All right, let's get started. What are 3 main things that a brand should keep in mind while drafting a digital marketing strategy for India or any other Asia Pacific market?
Okay, so 1, understand the audience persona and customize and personalize according to that, especially for geographies like India. 2nd, keep mobile as focus. 3rd, for mass markets like India, while you should look at digital, you should still think integrated. People are spread across multiple channels. It's not that, especially if you want to reach to massive audience, think integrated. That's my 3rd one.
All right. Next question is, a lot of social media channels have changed their focus on videos. From IGTV to Facebook Watch, all major social media platforms are jumping onto the video bandwagon. But what do you think are 3 major obstacles that are stopping entrepreneurs and brands from leveraging the power of video marketing?
So, 1, definitely, I think production cost is huge when it comes to video. So brands need to, really think about how do they, create videos which are quality at cost. 2nd, they need to look at important element of distribution. I have seen a lot of brands, they just spend money in creating content and they miss the investment required for the distribution of the content. That's 2nd. 3rd is they need to look at what are the trends, relevant trends for video which are important. For example, if you are looking at going after Facebook audience through video, you need to think of a square, square shaped videos. So customizing the videos in terms of the format according to the audience is the third input, which I think right now people miss to leverage video as a channel.
All right, 3 very important problems. And I think at Animaker, we are developing products that can specifically address these 3 problems and democratize the process of video creation. So that's a great point. And the next question to you is 3 points that a global company should keep in mind. Why they should choose India as their next market as opposed to any other Asia Pacific region.
Sure. So one is obvious, which is size. The population overall, and with over 500 million internet users, that's the biggest reason. Second, there is a growing consumer spending along with increasing appreciation for quality and trust for online. And that's another big reason a lot of international brands are looking at reaching this audience. Third, because of the emotional connect within the Indian audience, if you do well, the word of mouth can be really faster. And so for brands which provide really high value, they stand a great chance to succeed faster in markets like India compared to other markets.
All right, 3 very, very valid points. Thank you so much, Pradeep. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. One final question. How can the audience of Animaker find you?
One, I am on all social media channels, especially Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I keep doing sessions for Digital Vidya. So do visit our website, digitalvidya.com, look at our blogs. I keep contributing learnings about digital marketing through our website and other social media channels. And if you need to reach out to me on email, I'm available at pradeep@digitalvidya.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Pradeep. Thank you for spending your time with us today and sharing some amazing information with us today.
My pleasure, Arvind. Thank you for inviting me.
Guys, if you really enjoyed this show, go ahead and click on the like button and click on the subscribe icon to stay tuned to all of the latest episodes of Animaker Genius Talk. Until next time, take care, stay safe. This is Arvind from Team Animaker signing off.